Hi and Assalamualaikum. My name is Auni Akilah binti Aziz. I am from JBA 2425B. So today I would like to present to you about the effect of white collar crime announcement on stock price performance. So I hope you guys can lend me your ears and give full attention for my presentations. So here is my content of this presentation. First is introduction, second is issue, third is objective, fourth is findings, fifth an analysis, and lastly is a conclusion. So let's move to the first section which is introduction. So what is the introduction of the white collar crime? Based on Edwin H. Sutherland in 1939, introduced and popularized the term white collar crimes. According to him, it was a crime committed by the person of respectability and high social status in the course of their occupation. It could also be explained as the financially motivated and non-violent crimes committed by business and government professionals. The motives of people involved in such type of crimes are only to multiply their financial gains. The loopholes protect these professionals in administrative and legal system and by getting support from the government. Indirectly, white-collar crime include misinterpretation in advertising, violation of labor laws, violation of copyright and patent laws, and financial manipulations. The crimes are not considered violent in nature and are usually committed by business people, government officials, and people in professional positions. The term white collar refers to the job the person has, like they probably wear a suit or clothing that is required by their profession. More and more, white-collar crimes are committed by using computers and other kinds of technology that allows these criminals to get a hold of confidential financial information. So next, let's move to the second section, which is issue. So, what is the issue? The issue is how is the effect of white-collar crime announcement on price reaction. A few surveys have done by PricewaterhouseCoopers, which is PwC, had reported that about 30% of more than 3,600 companies had suffered from fraudulent acts with an average loss of US $2 million. PwC had reported that economic crimes such as asset misappropriation, procurement fraud, corruption and bribery, cybercrime and accounting fraud are the most common crimes that occurred in Malaysia. Apart from that, Integrity had revealed that the illicit financial flows from the developing world in 2011 were recorded above 946.7 billion US dollar as compared to 832.4 billion US dollar in 2010. In terms of the largest cumulative illicit financial outflows over the period of 2002 to 2011, Malaysia was ranked fourth across all the developing countries with illicit outflows of 370.58 billion US dollar. Malaysian stock market continues to experience rapid development and integration. It is highly relevant and important. At the same time, this might reveal that unethical behavior such as white-collar crime would reduce the shareholders' maximization by its negative abnormal return. The price reaction on white-collar crime announcement is also related to market efficiency and can be the supporting evidence about Malaysian stock market efficiency. In addition, it might be useful for policymakers to strengthen their corporate governance to protect investors from stock return deterioration. So next, let's move to the effects of white-collar crime. First effects of white-collar crime is can give bad impact to the society. When a company suffers from fraud from any source, it must make up for it by raising costs, which ultimately means higher prices for consumers. It can also mean less pay for employees and even cutting their jobs. The effect can continue to ripple when it comes to those employees or investors who now find themselves unable to pay off loans and credit become harder to obtain. Obviously, this kind of crime can have an enormous impact on society. Second is economic misbalance. When a group of persons belonging to rich and resourceful class through their unlawful sources, they will gain more and more profit. The majority class will suffer the evils of it. Third is misrepresentation of law. There are some punishments which are enumerated in the Penal Code 1860 about taking bribe or forgery. But white-collar criminals embezzle a huge amount of money through mischief of corruption. But they are not punished properly, since they don't think that they do not commit any offense at all. So, lastly is the impact of infrastructural progress. In the construction work of the government, most of the time a big amount of money is being embezzled by the white-collar criminals. For this reason, the highway, multi-purpose bridge, and the government infrastructure are falling down before the scheduled time of completion, and the infrastructural progress of the country is in turns and getting ruined. So now let's move to the causes of white-collar crime. First causes is the greediness. Rationalizing greed is a common trait of white-collar criminals. Some white-collar criminals believe that everyone violates business laws, so it is not so bad if they do so themselves. So greed is another motivation for white-collar crime. Okay, second is necessity. Based on the point above, greediness is not the only motivation for white-collar crime. It also plays an important role. Executives may tamper with company books because they feel they need to keep or improve their jobs, satisfy their egos, or support their children. This is because some employees have been a white-collar crime for their company. So, thirdly is the four social and economical changes. The rise of white-collar criminality in many countries has coincided with the progress made in those countries in the economic and industrial fields. It is hardly surprising that the two processes should go together, considering that most of the white-collar crimes are, directly or indirectly, connected with the production and distribution of wealth. Lastly, the causes of white-collar crime is the scientific and technological development. The advance of technological and scientific development is contributing to the emergence of mass society, with a large rank and file and small controlling elite, encouraging the growth of monopolies, the rise of managerial class, and intricate institutional mechanism. The inability of all sections of society to appreciate in full this need results in the emergence and growth of white-collar and economic crimes.
full. The cage is full, stay awake. In the dark, count mistakes. The light was off, but now it's on. Searching underground for a bit of sun. The sun is out, the day is new, and everyone is waiting, waiting on you. And you got time. And you got time.
So now let's move to the section 3, which is objective. So now let's move to the first objective of this article. First objective is to investigate empirically the stock price reaction to the announcement effects as a result of white-collar crime in Malaysia listed companies. Secondly is investigate further the abnormal returns of white-collar crime announcement and identifies the Malaysian stock market efficiency. The third one is to examine the effect of white-collar crime announcement on the stock price reaction. Therefore, it is important to identify a specific development event that has impact on stock returns. So, let's move to the section 4, which is findings. So now let's move to the findings. Based on the findings of this article, a white-collar crime has a negative abnormal return on the share price. As a result, the market does not react efficiently toward the information released regarding the incidence of a white-collar crime. Based on these findings also, it shows that the effect of white-collar crime and market efficiency may lead to better implication for investors. According to the news of Malaysia Kini, it stated that latest Malaysian Anti-Corruption Commission statistic shows 1,101 persons were arrested for corruption in 2019 compared to 894 in 2018. This figure includes public officials, politicians, and civilians arrested for corruption. So, let's move to the section 5, which is analysis. Based on the analysis, Malaysia is no exception for discourse of white-collar crime issue. According to the LIM in 2005, which is they said about 579 million ringgit was involved in 11,714 white-collar crime cases in 2003. Fewer cases were reported in 2004, which is only 9,899 cases. However, the amount of losses escalated to 836.29 million ringgit. Liu and Hua found that those companies in Malaysia such as Kenmark Industrial Co. and Berhad, Alliance Financial Group Berhad and Samdabi Berhad had faced the decline in the stock price due to the announcement of authority abuse and suspected of fraud. An anecdotal evidence document a whopping 1.775 billion ringgit was lost through scams, embezzlement, criminal breach of trust, and other white-collar crime in 2013 in Malaysia. Regarding to the news in Malaysia Kini, which is in 2018, in Bukit Aman statistic, there were 25,000 fraud cases and 15,000 individuals were arrested. 65% of them involved in fraud scams that were reported nationwide last year, with losses at 6.2 billion ringgit. The fraud triangle is a model to explain the factors that cause white-collar criminals to commit corruption and fraud. This is how corporations respond to accusations of wrongdoing and criminal behavior. So, in my opinion, white-collar crimes are the most significant in terms of financial losses, injury, diseases, and death caused to the public. Numerous types of white-collar crime exist and they are increasing in number, in contrast to other types of crimes which are declining in incidence. The crime occurs in a wide range of institutions and organizations, including business, the medical field, government, religious organizations, and others. Of all the types of white-collar crimes, consumer fraud is the most prevalent, with high profits made on substandard or dangerous products. Corporate irresponsibility resulting in environment, offense, and adverse impacts on occupational health and safety are other major areas of white-collar crime. Criminal liability is not limited to individuals, as corporations and business entities can also be convicted of criminal wrongdoing. Obviously, while a corporation cannot be incarcerated, fines and injunctions are a powerful weapon that prosecutors can use to bring this.
There may be a crime being committed in your company right now, and you'd never know. Fraud risk is pervasive, but more often than not, silent. When it comes to addressing their fraud risk, many companies lack direction and fail to see the signs of white-collar crime in their organizations. The result is an environment in which fraudulent acts can occur and continue unchecked. According to a new survey from Protivity and the Economic Crime and Justice Studies Department at Utica College, many organizations are under-resourced and putting out fires far more often than they're focusing on proactive fraud detection and assessing their fraud risk.
So now, we move to the prevention of white-collar crime. First prevention is strong internal controls. You need to strengthen any weak internal controls to cut any chances criminals to steal your assets. Weak internal controls are cited by ACFE as the leading cause of white-collar crimes. Okay, second is training. Without proper training, your employees will not know how to detect fraud from within or outside the company. By educating your staff on some common red flags associated with fraud, you will be able to better detect and prevent fraud. So, the third one is management help. Management must be heavily involved in the fight against white-collar crime. Taking the time to review controls and correct weaknesses is essential to the betterment of your fraud detection system. If you don't want to be sending the message that you don't care or that committing a crime in your organization is simple. So, the last one is hotline. Many businesses have set up anonymous fraud reporting hotlines. Through the cost and maintenance of such a system has deterred many businesses from adopting one, it can help to uncover fraud, which can in turn save your businesses from the hefty losses involved in such crimes. Okay, so the last section is section 6, which is conclusion. So let's go to the conclusion. So the conclusion is, investigating the white-collar crime announcement effect is a very interesting and intriguing matter. Facts surmise that white-collar crime has been continuously increasing. White-collar crimes such as particularly financial statement fraud and asset misappropriation will incur significant financial losses to the businesses. Instead of huge financial repercussion, white-collar crime may also cause some deterrent effect to the society. In short, it may incur some non-financial losses such as lower social morale, and create social disorganization, damage to country's reputation and customer relationship, and as well as affect the equity value of the firm. Next is, as the population of Malaysia continues to grow and as the country continues to modernize, the problem of white-collar crime will pose an increasing challenge to law enforcement agencies that cope with limited resources. While the Malaysian government has taken legislative action to address new economic crimes as they arise, enforcement of those laws has been lax. Until the government commits greater resources to addressing its crime problem rather than denying it, white-collar crime will continue to flood Malaysians and those who do business within Malaysia. So finally, I have done my presentation and I would like to say thank you for your time and thank you for your attention too. If you guys have any question to ask me regarding this topic, you guys can give a comment at the comment section below and I will answer it later. Thank you.